Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast, special edition series where I preview each Major League Baseball team's season. We go over the prospect lists, we do the superlatives, we'll do some futures, and then a bull prediction to close it out. And now up is the 5th to 30. It's the Chicago Cubs, who have optimism for the first time since that core that broke the curse was still together. They have a new manager in Craig Counsell. There's a lot of fun stuff going on with this team, and I am excited to see how this plays out here. All right, so prospect lists. Their top prospect, an outfielder, former Mets farmhand, Pete Crow Armstrong. Could be in the bigs this year. Slated to be in the bigs this year. He's 16th overall on MLB.com's list. Their second-ranked prospect is Cade Horton, a righty, also slated to be up this year. He is 26th on the list overall. Number 3 is Owen Casey, outfielder, slated to be up next year, and he's 47th on the list overall. Number 4 is Michael Busch. He's an infielder. Has seen some big league time. He has odds for Rookie of the Year. We're going to get to that when the time comes. He's also slated to be up this year. He's 51st overall on the list. Number 5 is Matt Shaw. He's a middle infielder. Will be up next year, and he is 54th overall on MLB.com. Number 6 is Kevin Alcantara. He's an outfielder slated to be up next year. He is 65th overall on the big list. And number 7 is James Triantos. He's a second baseman slated to be up next year. And he's 73rd overall on the big list. All right, 8 is Moises Ballesteros, catcher first base, supposed to be up 2026. 9, Jordan Wicks, lefty, supposed to be in the bigs this year. 10, Jefferson Rojas, shortstop, 2026. 11, Ben Brown, righty, 2024. 12, Alexander Canario, outfield, 2024. 13, Fernando Cruz, shortstop, 2029. 14, Michael Arias, righty, 2025. 15, Matt Mervis, first base, 2024. 16, Luke Little, lefty, supposed to be up this year. 17, Drew Gray, lefty, 2026. 18, BJ Murray Jr., AA, 2024. 19, Pedro Ramirez, second base and third base, supposed to be up in 26. 20, Luis Vasquez, shortstop, supposed to be up this year. 21, Hayden McGreary, first base, 2025. 22, Dernich Valdez, shortstop, 2028. 23, Pablo Alindo, catcher, 2025. 24, Christian Hernandez, middle infielder, 2027. 25, Alexis Hernandez, shortstop, 2027. 26, Jackson Wiggins, righty, 2026. 27, Brandon Birdsell, righty, 2025. 28, Brody McCullough, righty, 2025. 29, Porter Hodge, righty, 2024. And 30, Josh Rivera, shortstop, 2026. All right, so let's do some superlatives for the Cubs. Their best rookie's going to be PCA. I think he's going to come up and do great things. He's a lot of fun to watch, and I think he's going to stick it to the Metropolitans a little bit because they gave up on him in a trade for Javier Baez, who was a rental at the time. Most improved player on the Cubs. There's a couple that stand out. Obviously, Justin Steele broke out in a big way for them last year. But there's a couple players here that stand out for most improved on the team. But I think it's going to be Chris Morel. He improved from his first year to his second year. I think he will play in more games. Maybe he will stay healthy. And I think he's going to be in the 30s for home runs. So I'd say Chris Morel will be their most improved player. I wouldn't be shocked if he's an all-star this year. Most disappointing. There's a couple good ones. I'm going to say Cody Bellinger. This is the you just got paid and you're bound to disappoint. Obviously, you saw that with Carlos Rodon last year at the Yankees. We've seen that with Anthony Rodon with the Angels. You see it everywhere. Javier Baez, ironically enough, with the Tigers. But granted, this was a re-signing. But I think that is an obvious pick to disappoint. Make or break player. All right, this is a pitcher that's been around for a long time. And this is a guy the Cubs considered untouchable once upon a time. It's going to be a while before he's a free agent. Granted, he actually was really good last year. I was going to pick Adbert Alzolay. I thought he was worse last year. I was going to pick him. But there's a couple guys that jump out at me for make or break for this team because of guys that are up and coming and such. And can't be Nico Horner. But I thought of somebody else who was a highly touted prospect. He was considered untouchable. He barely has played and has not lived up to expectations, and that is Nick Madrigal, who came over in a trade between a rare Cubs-White Sox trade and really hasn't found the home with the Cubs. So if there's an injury or something, Madrigal's got to make the most of the opportunity. Bounce back comeback player. All right, this is a pitcher that was bad last year, and it was classic because it's like he signs a new contract and he stinks. And he had an ERA almost of 5 last year, but I think when he's right, this guy could be pretty good, and that's Jameson Taillon. Former Yankee, former Pirate. Obviously was not great with the Yankees, but the NL Central's weaker. Year 2, less pressure. Not expected to produce in a big way. So I could see Taillon being really quiet and being a big factor for the Cubs this year. So I'm going to say he's the bounce-back guy on the team. There's no real Ewing theory with anybody because that whole group left. I mean, the obvious one is David Ross. They get rid of him and they're suddenly better. That's the obvious one. And I thought Ross did a good job last year, but they were bad in September, and that's what cost him his job. And then Counsell became available. And they did the same thing to Rick Renteria. He got fired. Was it Rick Renteria? Who was that? Who was the guy that managed the Cubs? Oh, he did manage the Cubs. It was Rick Renteria. They hired him instead of Joe Girardi. Yes, it was Rick Renteria. He was their manager for 1 year, and everyone thought they were going to hire Joe Girardi, and Joe Girardi ended up going back to the Yankees. And they hired Renteria, and then Joe Madden became available, and then they hired Joe Madden, and the rest was history there. So, Ross got the Rick Renteria treatment, except Ross was there longer than Renteria was. So, David Ross on paper is a Ewing theory candidate, but I think it kind of feels obvious that the Cubs are going to be better with Craig Counsell than David Ross. So I really couldn't think of a player for the Cubs in terms of a Ewing theory. All right, team ceiling 4. I think they can win the division. I think they can. And I think that's their ceiling. A low 90s win division winner. With Justin Steele at the top of the rotation, Taillon bounces back, Kyle Hendricks bounces back. So that's another good bounce back guy. Imanaga lives up to the hype. And maybe they trade for somebody that's available at the deadline that could help them. Their bullpen, they can get a couple pieces there. And then some of their young guys in their lineup step up. And then Dansby Swanson is the leader free agent signing that they signed him to be. So there's a path of the Cubs winning the division. But there's also a downside of the Cubs I can see them finishing as low as probably... I hate to say this because I'm high on the long-term prospect of the Cubs with Counsell in the house. There's a world they finish 4th. And I love watching the Cubs, or this iteration of the Cubs. And so the case for him finishing 4th is like Tyon is bad, Justin Steele regresses, Hendricks is hurt, Imanaga's a bust, their bullpen stinks, Yan Gomes is old, the young guys don't pan out, the bad contract theory hits Cody Bellinger, and Swanson doesn't play to the back of his baseball card. So there's an avenue with the Cubs finishing 4th, and in the case for those other teams that had the Cardinals stay healthy, and then they bounce back in a big way. The Brewers are better than we think, and there's a Ewing theory thing with Corbin Burns, and they have the new manager that sparks the team a little. And then the Reds could be good with some of their pitching. Maybe they make a trade of some sort. So there's an avenue for the Cubs to finish in 4th and have like around 75 wins, which I do not see happening, but it's not out of the realm of possibility. I'd say it's like a 3% chance they finish in 4th. I think it's more likely they finish in 1st and 4th. And there's obviously no big-time power in that division like the D-backs have with the Dodgers. So the Cubs have a high ceiling but a low floor. That's what I'm trying to say with them. And I mean a high ceiling if they can make a couple trades and certain guys make leaps like they hope. All right, some futures for the Chicago Cubs. Like I said, I love doing the futures. So the World Series, the Chicago Cubs are 35-1, so I'd say 17-1 to win the National League. 18-1, that's close enough. To reach the NLCS, they are plus 650. The Cardinals are favored in the division at plus 150. They expect a bounce back there. The Cubs are 2-1. So they have the same number as the Orioles to win the AL East. That's a little nuts. And I think one team is better than the other. And it's not the Cubs that are better than the Orioles. So, awards. To me, they don't really have anyone that stands out for NL MVP. I mean, let's see what Bellinger is just in case there's anybody. Although I did pick him to take a step back. See Suzuki 70-1. Bellinger is 80. And where is Steele for Cy Young? Because he was in the mix last year, 20-1. And Imanaga's 45. Counsell's probably the favorite for the manager of the year. Yes, he has his plus 550. I want to see... They have a couple Rookie of the Year candidates. Imanaga and Michael Busch. But I want to see PCA's Rookie of the Year. Imanaga's 16-1. Michael Busch is 30. And then PCA is 45-1. And then, and then comeback player of the year, where's Jameson Taillon? I thought I saw his name on the list. Yes, he's 60-1. And then their win total, it better be over 80. What's the Cubs to win 90-plus games? Plus 235, I like that one. And then the Cubs win total is 83.5. Obviously, that feels an over to me. But my favorite Cubs future, I'm going to say PCA 45-1 for NL Rookie of the Year. I could see them calling him up for a spark offensively, and he has that big impact that rookies sometimes have on teams. Maybe the Gary Sanchez effect a couple years ago with the Yankees. There's a couple that stand out. I mean, Judge in 17, Rhys Hoskins with the Phillies that one year. So I could see PCA coming in and having an impact. So PCA 45, the one for National League Rookie of the Year, is my favorite Cubs future. My bold prediction for the Cubs. This is a good one. But I am going to predict that they make a big trade addition to bolster their starting rotation. There's a couple guys on teams that I think are going to be available for trade, including in the AL Central, the AL West, maybe even the NL East if the opportunity presented itself. But I think there's going to be some more big-name pitchers available. I do not see them trading within their own division. But I want to say Shane Bieber is just a perfect fit, but I think there's a chance the Guardians surprise some people and they hold on to those guys. But there is a guy I like that I think has a chance to be traded. There's two guys, Seth Lugo and Michael Wacha of the Cards. But I really think what the Cubs need is like a bona fide number one type of guy to go with Justin Steele. I mean, I do think you could argue they should have traded for Burns or somebody else. But instead of a trade, there's still a certain free agent out there. His name is Jordan Montgomery. I think Jordan Montgomery signs with the Chicago Cubs. That's going to be my bold prediction for them. And that's going to be like their big trade addition. And that would be a big upgrade in their rotation. He could be the 1A with Justin Steele. Montgomery's pitched in big games before with both the Yankees and the Rangers and the Cardinals. So I'm going to say that the Cubs are the team that signs Jordan Montgomery. So I'm going to make that my bold prediction for them. All right, so the Cubs one was a little longer. I wanted the Cubs one to be long. Next up is the Chicago White Sox.